Poppin' B, Purpok here, and welcome back to another episode of Race the Ramen, the show where I attempt to review something unscripted in the amount of time it takes to boil an instant ramen. And today, we'll be taking a look at... I Am Frankelda, or Soy Frankelda, showing now on Netflix. Alright, we're going to start the timer right now. Okay, so I Am Frankelda, or Soy Frankelda, as it's called in Spanish. This is a recently released stop-motion animated film that came out on Netflix. I'm pretty sure it came out in Mexico last year, where it was a big hit. And, put it simply, I am busy in my life right now. Lots of different stuff going on. I've been wanting to make a couple different video projects and just falling behind on them. But I wanted to put something out to show you guys I'm around, I'm still alive, and I'm still making things and will be. Plus, I have not seen nearly enough people talking about this movie in general, and I'd like to fix that because this is probably a sleeper hit for the year, at least for me. I feel like I've enjoyed this movie a little bit more than other people I've seen who've seen it since it debuted on Netflix, but I don't care. I just want to tell the world about this because I was not having a good day. I watched I Am Frankelda, and my day was instantly improved. I think that this is the kind of animated movie we really don't get much of anymore. Like, not just because stop motion is difficult and it takes so much time and there's few companies willing to consistently invest in that sort of thing, but something like this that is so, like, Hail Mary creative. I saw this one review from one of my Letterboxd mutuals. I'll put them on screen, Josh, and they said something to the effect of, this feels like a movie made by people who didn't think they'd ever get another chance. And I think that's a really apt review because, yeah, this is these creators throwing everything at the wall, making their masterpiece as best they can, and while it is messy and kind of patchwork, I think it really, really works. But what is I Am Frankelda? Well, it's a little complicated, but it's basically the story of a young woman in the 19th century who wants to be a novelist, a horror novelist, and everyone shoots down her ideas. She lives with her grandmother, who isn't supportive. She loses her mother at a young age, and she's the one who fostered her artistic abilities and all that. And then it turns out that the creatures that she created, the spooky monsters and all that, exist somewhere. Because her ideas are her own, but it's like drawing from another world. It's an interesting little, dreams dream of you kind of idea. The tagline's something like, what you've been imagining has long been imagining you. It's weirdly, like, metaphysical and conceptual in that way, and leads to, like, the whole landscape of fantasy that exists essentially being like an extension of Frankelda's psyche. It's like, I'm getting lost in the description of this film because there is just a lot. It is messy, and I feel like most people won't even really know the context of it, because it's actually a prequel to a show called Frankelda's Book of Spooks, which was actually commissioned by Cartoon Network Latin America. So, like, the Cartoon Network logo was in front of this movie. I was shocked to see the Warner Brothers Discovery logo touch anything animated right now. But, like, it's just, I'm rambling because there's just so much. This movie is a gorgeous, colorful smorgasbord of, like, non-stop visual creativity and some familiar plot threads mixed in with some really, really effective, surprisingly subversive plot threads. Frankelda as a character is unfortunately kind of sidelined a bit by the narrative in what is, you know, supposed to be the story of how she became who she is, which is a pretty notable criticism. I've seen other people point it out, and I totally agree. That said, the world around her is essentially, again, an extension of her thoughts, considering she wrote practically everybody in there. And the symbolism is, like, back and forth between both worlds, and that's really interesting. And she, as a character, is very sympathetic to watch, seeing her dreams constantly get, you know, stepped on. But she's also, like, so insistent to never give up Even if she's really suffering or sad, they're not afraid to let her get angry. For a good chunk of the movie, she's basically a monster version of herself, going around being all spooky scary, and they let that happen. There's romance, there's death, there's music, and it's just got all this stuff going. At its best, it's like just as funny and creative as something like The Nightmare Before Christmas, or just as ambitious as something like Phil Tippett's Mad God. Like, I know I've said it like 3, 4 times because it really is true. It's kind of a mess, but it's a fun mess, full of heart, and I think way more people need to see it. Hopefully that gives you a decent impression of what I think of the movie. My thoughts are really scattered on this because I'd probably have to talk for a while to go into meaningful depth on the stuff I actually really appreciate about this, but to put it simply, it's a great animated film with some serious balls to talk about kind of serious topics while still being acceptable for young children. It's like melancholy, but in a deliberate, measured way that's not like too sad or like too dour. It's realistic and grounded while also being fantastical and hopeful in a way. It's very, very sweet. And if you're like an artist or creative type of any sort, this might put the spark back in you if you've been feeling less than motivated lately. Because it's a great story about like imposter syndrome and fighting a society that wants to put you down all the time because it deems your ideas like not worthy to be sold or not necessary to be told, or they just want to like take it from you for themselves to keep the power they've got, keep young new people from getting into these positions. Again, it's surprisingly layered, and it's sweet and funny, and it had a budget of like less than $1 million US, and it just looks amazing and is amazing in so many ways for what it is. So I recommend it to basically everybody. If you don't like it, come back here and complain to me, sure. But I'm hoping most of you will have the kind of revelatory viewing I did. I really needed something like this. I give I Am Frankelda a 9 out of 10. For what is apparently Mexico's first fully produced, I guess also independent, like stop motion film, for such a tiny budget, from such humble beginnings, as like a Cartoon Network, like 6-episode series or whatever, with like these two brothers directing it, it just feels so inspiring and genuine. And for all of its flaws, like the occasional like choppy bit of editing or the odd underdeveloped character or plotline, it makes up for it with mountains of creativity and soul, great world building, and just a lot. It's a shame Netflix hasn't advertised this. I guess since it's not really theirs, they don't care as much, but more people need to check this out. Very underrated. Yeah, really good. Soy Frankelda. Es muy bien. Lo siento, pero mi español es muy mal. Muy mal. Oh, that was embarrassing. I'll leave it in. Let them roast me. Let's see, was there anything else? Wait a minute. Oh, have I been bald this entire time? Great, I'm gonna have to start over. I have to start all the way over. Okay, let me just